Hey Dreamers, this is Jack to Plays, and today we're going to discuss a new feature in the update 2.51 from the Dreams for Media Molecule, and this one is, I would say, very welcoming as well. You probably already have seen it in the title, but I am talking about the emitted light from a paint always on without showing the paint itself, and it isn't very a small little like update for this, but the reason why I'm liking this so much is because I did not very long ago made a tutorial about how to make different ways of lights in Dreams, and not instead of only diffuse lights and spotlights. I wanted to show a little bit more ways to create lights in Dreams, and because I'm also always fan of one or the other, right? But you have diffuse lights, it's great for some situations, but not always. Spotlights is great for some situations, but not always. And that's why I made a tutorial. You can watch the tutorial still. It's still relevant, so it's not outdated. It's still relevant. I will probably make a link somewhere in this video or on the description to go to there. But that is for how I do different ways of lights to create something like a light source in Dreams without diffuse lights and spotlight. But now there's one additional thing added, going to be for a light source, and I'm super happy with this one. And since this is more of an update video of Dreams itself, so it's not technically a tutorial, but I still of course going to show it. So it is a tutorial, but I will give you some tips and thoughts about it, what I think about this update, and I'm also very curious, what do you think about this update as well? I said it often on my live on my streams. Basically all my videos are technically tutorials in general, because I always show you from the beginning till the end. So technically they're all tutorials, but it's just how you're seeing it. Okay, so I made a really quick scene. Well, it's not really a scene, but made place some props in here. You can see that there is a spotlight showing this particular area, and you're probably going to see, for the people that have really good eyes, you're probably going to see some Easter eggs. And there is here a diffuse light, and that's it. So in my tutorial, I also did another light source. I'm not going to really show you this one because I already made a video about that. So like I said, I will place a link in this, probably somewhere in the video. I don't know how we're doing it yet, but somewhere in the video I will place, or on the description for sure, I will place a link to that tutorial. But now we have something new, and that is the paint one. So if you go into paint mode, it doesn't really matter which one you choose, to be honest. It works with everything. But I think if you want to create something like a normal light source, I'm not going to talk about all the different things and ideas what you can do with it, but if you're going use them as a certain light source, this is going to be super great. So we're going to use an opaque flag. I always hate that word to say it. Opaque square. Sorry. See, I hate that word. So there you go. It doesn't really matter. Here we have my paint now a stroke, and normally you can glow this, of course, and that's it. Normally you just and you have let that into your scene. But with this new update is that we can go into the settings, and you can now say, and this is super great, you can say emit light from glow. We can say always, right? And if we're going to place the opposite flag to 0, we will still keep, if we're going into the scene, we will still get the light source from this opposite flag. And why is this so great? I think mostly for me personally, I think this is super great to in different ways to make your scene more alive without using all the spotlights and stuff like that. So this is another way to do it. And as I said in the tutorial video that I made not so long ago about I'm using the sculpture technique for that, which basically works the same, but you have to do a few other things to make the sculpture invisible. But the great way about this is actually a little bit of a step easier than the Sculpt version, because the Sculpt version, it still requires you to do a few extra settings and steps to make it work. The pro side of like the Sculpt version is that you can like have any shape you want in a light source, right? Now with a flag, you can of course also still having every shape you want, except you're not in a 3-dimensional way. That's like, unless you're going to of course like make more flags in a source, or like in itself. But I hope you know what I hope you know what I mean. So the steps are going to be a little bit easier now, because you only need to say like a few things. Finish the opacity to 0 and say emit light from glow must be set to always, so no matter where you are, the setting will always be on. And I think that this can quite improve some of your creations. You can you can like do this for different situations, like in gameplay wise. You can like add something like this for a certain gameplay, which is like, I think, very cool to do as well. And it will take you maybe a little bit less, because like sculpture takes graphics memory, of course, and flag as well eventually, but like it are like mostly gameplay turmo, but like flag use, of course, gameplay turmo eventually. But I think you can work cleverly with this flag technique for having a light source. And what I like a lot about this is that it's super easy, and you don't really need a lot of like steps to go for to make the source lit up. And I really love that. Now, for example, if I like remove, or if I like disable this one here, and we're going to disable the diffuse light. There we go. So the only light source is now coming from the flag that we just like put in. So there's like, you can still see a little bit where the light source is coming from. But I must say that I kind of probably going to prefer this one over the Sculpt. Depending still, because like the Sculpt one, I still prefer sometimes the Sculpt, because like you can do better with corners of like lighting corners. Now you can also do it with flags, but sometimes like the Sculpt is still in some situations a little bit better. If you're like want to like tweak the settings again, just make sure you are using the preview invisibility. You take that off so you can see the paint flag again that you just like did opacity. So keep that in mind. But you can really make something very cool. You can like, of course, you can like keyframe it or out recording it. You can say something like, I wanna like do this. Oh no, not this. Sorry. Like this, for example. Something like that. And if you're going into like play mode, you have like that the light source is like it's going on and off. Now you're there's like one thing I'm not really a big fan of in Dreams. Please don't hate me for it. But if a light goes on and off, and you can really see it here pretty well, it doesn't actually go on off. It is like it's powering slowly off and powering slowly on. This is maybe the only thing that I'm not really a big fan of. But I think with like this, like besides that, I don't want to make it a negative video, but besides that, is that you can make really quickly like a cool effects with this technique, with this with this stuff. And yes, of course, you could already do this with a diffuse light, right? Or you can you could always do you can also do it with a spotlight. Yes, you can also do it with a sculpture. But the fact that this is now a new thing, I think that like it makes certain creations a little bit more easier for some people, and especially if you're going to use it for a certain gameplay that I probably have not really thought of it right now, but I think you're probably going to have some ideas for this. I think it's really a nice additional to how to create light source without using spotlights or diffuse lights, as I am not really a big fan of diffuse lights. You rarely see me using diffuse lights in my creation. It's mostly or spotlights, or it is the sculpt technique, because like it handles, for me personally, the light source better. And I think we have a new addition to this, and that's like the flag. It was technically already possible if you're like I think it was like you could glitch it a little bit, like if you place the flag inside the sculpture and then put sometimes like that still work, although it never worked with me, but there are some claiming that. But now you don't really need to do all the different stuff sculpted inside the sculpture and then make the sculpture invisible and then like put the flags inside and make it glow effect and then like it's too much work, right? It's too much work, unnecessary for having a normal light source. And so now it's a lot easier. So now you don't really need to do that. Now you don't need to put a flag inside the group, inside the sculpture, and to make the sculpture invisible, to put like the flag into a light source, and so that like it's invisible. And you don't really need to do that anymore. So you only need to have like a flag in any shape or form that you want, and you can say like invisible, and then it will work just like that. Super easy. And that's why I'm also making this video, to show you how that works. Now it's not really like a big like update, like I said, but like I'm already like more talking than the update is actually doing. But think of something like you could use this for different ways of gameplay. You can make like flags appear and disappear while the light source is still going with it. So for example, if you're going to animate it, right, so let me like if you're going to animate it, I know there are so many ways of like ways of doing this. And let me put this on so you can see. Can we still see it? No, because like we have the opacity. So for example, here we have like now like this, right? And if we are a little bit clever, let me see. Oh, I press the wrong one here. Like different directions. I don't know. You could probably think of like way more different ways for me than I'm showing right now. But to get the point is that you have like a lot more you have a lot more like options for this, as like you can already do this with any other light sources so quickly. Now I think, and I'm not really sure if this is actually like a thing, but maybe you can make raindrops out of it. So maybe an idea. But there is like different ways to create certain effects for your game experience, for your gameplay experience. And I think that this is such a nice additional to have an emit like an emitted light to the flag set on always, so you can like disable this. And this is something like what you see right here, for example. It's not super. You can still do this with diffuse lights. Yes, you can still do this with sculptures if you're going to like keyframe it, but now you don't really need to do that anymore. You can just like paint something in Dreams and use that as a light source, and you can really make very cool effects. You can maybe I don't know, like maybe if some space station is going to land and you want to have like some like stuff going on the ground. I don't know. There are so much like new ways to have certain lights technique. I think like you can make some ground objects like glow like this. Like there are so many more possibilities right now that I can think of, and probably if in the longer run I will probably get more like ideas out of this. But let me know in the comments, what do you think about this option, and or basically update to the flag, and will this bring you new ideas of how to make light sources? Now we have like 4 ways to do it. I think like we can, let me see, we can use glow effect on sculpture, we can use of course the diffuse light, we can use the spotlight, and we can now also use flag. So 4 ways to make and create light sources, which has each of their own a pro and a con. Like I don't I don't always liking diffuse lights. I also don't always like spotlights. But there's like in different ways we can now like recreate different like way of lighting to your environment, and I think this is a really great additional for the other 3 that we already have. Let me know in the comments. Let me know in the comments what you think about this, and if you have some ideas, let me know as well. I'm always curious what people come up with all these new updates that we get from Media Molecule. I don't really kind of wait if we get more. The Trello looks a little bit more emptier, but I hope that they will add more features in the long run. I hope this is not going to be closer to the last part. Like we still of course need to wait for the multiplayer one. I'm a little bit afraid. I know it's probably going to come, but I'm afraid it will skip the PlayStation 4. I have a certain gut feeling, but I'm just curious. Let me know in the comments. I will see you next time in the next video, and as always, don't forget to dream. Bye bye everybody. See you next time. Bye bye.